Hello, hello, hello. Brandon, guess what? It's episode 25. 25. I
have to do my twos like this because I can't really bring my pinky
That's the
down.
Paulie Walnuts too. You put those over here.
No, this is a baseball.
It could be a baseball too. Also,
baseball two. Two down. Nobody goes.
Also,
down. They go two down.
In the Breakfast Club, if you mess with the bull, you get the horns.
You get the horns.
I'm Mike.
I'll own you for the rest of your natural
if you're
born
not
life.
Careful. Eat my shorts. Mike Marrazzo, Brandon Silveira, depending on which way you're looking on TV, to my left or my right.
You're the one that edits this. You should know where you're going.
I always put you there. You're on my right when I'm looking at the screen. My left.
Okay. Well, you're always on my right.
Oh, it's all right. We're all right. So guess what I read?
It's okay.
When we were starting the
What'd you
podcast
read?
stuff, I read that if you can get to 100 episodes, you most likely will have a successful podcast. And we're a quarter of the way there.
Quarter. Feels like it was just yesterday.
Yeah. I thought you were going to go, Steve.
We tried episode 1 and dealing with 7-second
Oh,
delays.
God, yeah. I'm glad.
Trying to talk to each other through that.
Oh, was that horrible? I want to go back and listen.
God, that was.
So.
I don't. Don't go back and listen.
Did you?
Well, I guess if you ever feel down on how the show sounds, like just go back and listen to that one. You're like, oh,
it is way better than the first one, and it keeps getting better. It's funny because we didn't talk much before episode 1.
No, we were just like, fuck it, let's do this.
Yeah, so it's nice to hear our relationship grow over the years. I'm already at like episode 1200.
Over the years. The hell?
And
How long you think
I just had my hip replaced, Brandon. I can't ride my riding mower anymore. I have to hire a landscaper to mow my 40 acres.
Jeez, episode 1200. How many years do you think that would take?
Holy Jesus!
If we did one a week, it would take 52 episodes a year, and that's if we did it every week. And we've already talked about the holidays because
we're going to be ramping down,
doing it every other week.
Yeah.
So say just on average 50 episodes a year.
And you want to get to 1500?
You're the one that said 1200.
Oh, 1200.
Yeah, so 2 years to get to 100. So it would take 24 years, Mike. I would be your age.
Yikes! I would be a grandpa, maybe.
I don't know. I could possibly be.
I'm gonna be a broken bag of bones by then.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, I still won't be retired.
So, the Bears have purchased Arlington Racetrack for like $200 and something million. Yeah, it was actually, that's pretty inexpensive for, I think they get like 40 acres or 38 acres or something, where they can put their stadium.
Mike, I was being facetious.
Well, that's not much money for, an NFL team. So my point is this.
What's your point, Mike?
Here's my point.
Waiting.
So after they purchased the land, or I'm sorry, they reached a purchase agreement. It's going to take like 2 years to finalize or whatever. And then they had that horrible showing against Cleveland where
that was
9 sacks and Fields threw for like a yard after,
that took years off his life.
It did. So someone did a meme, a couple memes that went around. One is the, I forget the name of the store, but out here it's the Halloween store that they pop up at all the Spirit Halloween. They hung a banner on the outside of Soldier Field. A Spirit Halloween banner on the outside of Soldier Field was one thing. Yeah. And then someone said, if it would take the Bears as long to move to Arlington Heights as it would to score, they'd get there in 67 years from last week's game, the offense-wise. To move the ball that many miles, it would take them 67 years.
Yeah, that was not fun to watch. I had to turn it off. I forget what I changed it to, but
you know what was fun to watch?
I could.
It wasn't fun to watch the Packers beat the Niners.
Don't you bring up that.
But it was fun to watch the Cowboys dominate Philly. Listen, man.
I didn't watch a single second.
Oh my God.
Cowboys Cowboys, Eagles does not.
I'm
sound
telling
like to me.
you don't know what's coming because Dallas plays San Francisco this year, right? It's not going to be pretty for you.
I think so. I don't know.
You can't stop Dak, man. The guy's unbelievable. He was like 22 out of 25 for 250 yards and a couple touchdowns. The guy's crazy.
Okay.
We'll have our bet. We'll bet.
See. We'll see.
I don't want to say Aaron Rodgers because he's bitten me in the ass.
Okay, if you start trying to compare Dak
No.
to Aaron
I'm
Rodgers,
saying
I'm buying a plane ticket just to
so we're going to have shop time.
I'm going to walk up, I'm going to slap you, and I'm going to
This is what I was going to say. Aaron Rodgers.
Not even punch, open hand slap.
Okay.
After they scored the touchdown, that's what I said. I go, because I was driving into work.
Yeah.
I said, hell yes. And then,
Oh, no.
Oh, crap. How much time is
and
left?
that has happened to.
And then I heard 37 seconds. And I went,
Right. And Aaron Rodgers has done that to my teams more than he's done it to yours. So that's all the point I was trying to get to.
Well, the Bears also play him.
Yeah.
twice a
So
year.
I had to endure that.
I just have to keep mentally going to the NFC title game
Also,
from a couple
Yeah.
years ago, and then I'm okay. Where like the 49ers ran for like a mile against the Packer defense.
yeah, that's been a long time. How many years ago was that? 3 years
Not that
ago?
long,
Year and a half?
No, it was 19.
2019.
Actually, it was 2020. It was the 2019 season.
Right. Yeah.
It was on
Aaron
my
Rodgers and Brett Favre have terrorized Bears fans for the last 25 years. So I don't want to hear your one game story.
birthday. I don't care.
So you're in your giant. Oh, first of all, sure.
They should have won.
No.
They
And the
should have been
Cowboys
able to
should have
pull
beat
that off.
Tampa
I don't
in
know
week
why-
one.
I don't know.
But Tom
why-
Brady had too
I don't
much
know
time.
Why? I don't know why the defense was playing so soft. I don't know why the coverage was so soft on Aaron fucking Rodgers as a goddamn quarterback. I don't know why you would play that far off. You have to play it straight up. Anyways, you're getting my blood pressure up, Mike. We need to move on.
All right, look, I'm going to point this out.
because tomorrow's going to be stressful for me. Like I'm going to be drunk most of the day.
Oh, who are the
I got
49ers? Who are the
Giants
1 and 2
chance to
49ers
clinch.
playing tomorrow?
1 and 2. What the fuck are you talking about? They're 2 and 1, jackass.
Okay, same record as the Cowboys.
Philly
Oh,
win.
okay.
I don't even remember who they played week 1. Oh, Detroit win. Packers loss, and it should have been worse than it was. So the fact that they almost pulled a rabbit out of the hat was actually somewhat encouraging. Either way, I got Giants playing game 162 tomorrow with a chance to clinch the division. That it's going to take 107 wins.
What
to
if
do,
they have to
which
go to
is
game
mind-boggling.
163? Can they end in a tie?
If they go to game 163, like I'm not going to work that night. I will be hammered the entire. Like I will be stress drinking the entire time.
They can tie, right? If the Dodgers win
Yes,
and
if the Giants
and
lose
San
tomorrow
Francisco loses.
and LA
Tie.
wins, then
Game
they are
163
tied with 106
on Monday.
Yes, then they have to play a game 163.
I want that.
Loser of that game has to then go play
I
the
want that.
Cardinals. That isn't no. What I want is the American League wild card to be like a 4.
That's going to be cool too.
because then it's going to take like 3 days.
And both
to
of our
figure
teams
out.
will get plenty
That
of
would be
rest.
Fantastic.
Actually, my team would get plenty
Yes. Well, not
Right,
not
mine would.
mine. The National League playoffs. Are
Yeah,
just
my
go.
team would get some rest.
Whatever.
So I'm wearing a.
Yeah. So tomorrow is going to be a little bit stressful.
Before we get to tomorrow, I just want to point out I'm wearing.
Okay, stop
I'm
touching
wearing.
yourself.
Well,
Jesus.
look at the shirt.
Yes, I know. Touch it. That doesn't actually mean
It-
you have to do it on camera. YouTube
It's
will ban
Fa
it.
from Touch Woodworks. I'm wearing his shirt. On the front, it simply says "Touch It," and I get a great.
I know. I get
No,
it.
I'm giving a shout out
Okay, well,
for
we'll get to
Fa
it.
at Touch Woodworks. It's my favorite shirt.
Fa.
Wear it out in public. See what happens. Go get yourself one. All right. How was your week?
Miserable.
Because you're not in a squad car.
Miserable.
How's
No.
paper
stuck-
bitching going? Paper bitch
I'm watching a lot of TV. I'm all cut up on
at
the
work.
Rookie.
The Rookie. You watch that shit?
Dude, I work mids.
Nathan
Yes.
Fillion is that his name?
Yeah, I like this show. It's funny. It makes me laugh. And there's a lot of one of the I don't know if he's a writer or just a consultant is retired out of my department. So there are a lot of
That's cool.
isms
Okay.
from our department in that show, and I love it
So that's why you watch it.
because like I'll sit there, I'll watch it with my wife, I'll nudge her and be like, That's a
That's a
One
Frankism.
of our things.
That's a Johnism.
Like calling the MDT, calling it the box. That's what we call it. I don't know why. I don't know where it came from, but we'll ask for like returns on a plate to be sent to the box. Just send the returns to my box, and then I'll look it up.
Okay.
So it's cool to hear that in a TV show, and I think like one of the episodes in season 1 was actually based on a caper.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is kind of cool. So
Our department.
that's kind of like I like it because of that, and because the show came out as I was starting FTO,
Yeah. All right.
and I'm older than most of the other people in my academy class.
Right. Was you?
Not Nathan Fillion old. I'm only in my 30s.
I was 33 in my academy class, right? I was the oldest guy. And when I was in the academy, the movie The Bone Collector came out. Have you seen it? Okay.
Yes, I've seen it. Not in a long time, but
So
I've seen it.
I went to see that by myself for some reason. And
'Cause you're
it was
lonely.
right after we did forensic work in the academy, like learned search grids and all that shit. So I'm like, holy shit, that movie is so dead on with forensic stuff. Scaling pictures. Oh, my
Really?
God, yeah. And,
I have to watch it
yeah,
again.
they did a really good job with all the evidence stuff and making sure the grids that they're working and all that stuff. It's all actually good stuff. But back to you. Back to you, fuckers.
Yeah, so it's miserable. And it's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. Like, have you? I don't remember if we've talked about this or not, but have you ever been off of work for an extended period of time, mainly because of like an injury or something?
Yeah, remember I told you I was off for 8 months with my knee? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So this is like my first injury where I've been out for more than a week. Like, I think I was out for like a week and a half after I got my vasectomy done. And dude, it's depressing. Like, it is, you're completely isolated. It's weird because I'm in the same building. I'm literally down the hall from our briefing room where the entire shift goes. Everything went, but you are like a ghost in that building. It's crazy. And then you throw on the fact that, like, with my hand, I don't really have a lot of grip strength right now. So I can't even really go out into the shop and
Right.
get a bunch accomplished there. So there goes my de-stressor. So it's been really crappy to sit there and really not be able to do anything other than to sit on a couch and click, 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 click.
I've been doing that for 2 weeks now. 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. So I was going to say, like, how are you coping with, one, not being out there on the streets, not being able to do something else that brings you joy?
You know what's funny is I have people checking in on me, which is very nice from the police department, from several guys from the different shifts. But the guys from my shift, when they text me and ask me how I'm doing, I think there's an ulterior motive there.
You coming back?
Right, because we're short and they can't get time off. Like, my buddy Gio sent us a group message and said, hey, I'm looking at taking the 13th and 14th. That's the week we only work 2 days that week. And he wants to take them for vacation. I'm like, I can't weigh in on this because I have no standing right now on our shift. And I don't even know if I'll be back by then. Because, you know, yesterday, I went to physical therapy on Thursday. And I remember I saw the doctor on Tuesday. She said, how you doing? I'm not good. Okay, see you next Tuesday. Okay, there's another week. So I went to therapy on Thursday, and she said, oh, well, so-and-so is working, and she'll whip you into shape. And I'm like, okay, let's see. You know, she's going to hurt me? What's she going to do? We'll see.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? Make it worse?
So I saw that new person, physical therapist, and the first thing I asked her was, where's your whip? She's like, I didn't bring it today. I said, well, I was told you're going to whip me into shape. So she had me do some stuff that was, you know, not too hard, but I'm supposed to see the doctor again on Tuesday. And then she scheduled me for therapy on Thursday. So I don't think I'm going back to work next week, and I can't. I sat down yesterday with my wife gone, right? I told you in the pre-show, my son's got COVID.
Yeah.
He was in Maine. He started driving home. My wife didn't want him driving alone. She flew on a plane to Boston, got in a car and helped him come home. So I'm in the house by myself, not supposed to be doing anything. We got kittens that we're watching. We've got an extra dog from a friend who passed that we're watching, and then our dog who just had surgery and can't be just put on his lead and set outside. He has to be walked.
Yeah.
He has to be walked. I have to walk the dog. So not very with one leg. I'm not using crutches anymore, so that's good. So I walked the dog. I came back. I went to ice my ankle, and I set it down on the ottoman, and I bumped the heel on the ottoman. Ooh. Oh, my God. I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. So there's no way I'm ready for work, and it's depressing.
With my kids, they'll accidentally, like, bump it or something like that, and it's like...
Yeah. So I haven't been... At first, when I couldn't move around, I had a bunch of shows I had to get caught up on, but still, you're sitting in a chair for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And then now, I can walk around my shop. So I was able to cut wood for 4 flags and do some staining and do a grill cart. I'm doing that stuff, but I have to really be careful because my foot starts hurting really bad. And then I got to, I don't want to damage it more, but I just can't sit around anymore. Yeah. And when I go back to work, I want to hang. My boss, who got promoted to lieutenant, he ordered a flag for his office. I want to have that done by the time I get back, to work. So
So that's kind of where I'm at is like, I'm trying to I'm having to put way more thought into what I do before I do it. So like, I'm working on a cutting board because I figured, okay, that's not going to take a lot of grip strength. It's not going to take a lot to get it done. So the next part I have to do is rip down boards to size. So now I have to consciously think, okay, can I do this safely? Because I don't have a saw stop. So when I go to touch things or grab things, my finger sticks out. So I had to make sure that I can hold a push stick and safely not bump my fence. Because if I bump the fence, it's going to hurt. I'm going to jerk just out of reaction. I don't want to accidentally jerk towards the saw blade. Right across the blade. So it's really annoying to have to put that much thought into it. And it was the same thing when I was joining pieces the other day. Like, it took forever to do that because I had to put so much thought into, okay, keep my fingers away from where the little spinny wheel of death is and still apply pressure down to the appropriate side and get it through there. So I don't know, it's a bummer. Like laser work I can still do, without any issues, but at the same time, a lot of the laser work I do is custom to each person. Like I don't have like a template that I put on a tumbler or a template of signs that I make. It's all custom of whatever somebody wants, I'll put it on there. So it's like, all right, well, I guess I could kind of fool around with that stuff and see if I can come up with like a template for a tumbler or for something like that. But at the same time, it's like, well, I don't want to come with this template, burn a bunch of tumblers, and then not sell them, and then get orders for custom ones. And they're like, damn it, you know what? I wish I hadn't done that.
Yeah.
So
and at work, so when I'm on, I don't have light duty because of my injury. If I were on light duty, we're not allowed to, like I explained before, no contact with prisoners. We can't drive a marked vehicle. You're down the hall from your briefing room. Are you doing that DCFS stuff that you were talking about, or what else do they have you doing?
Yeah, but there's nothing
That's it. Okay.
to do. There's nothing to do. Those reports don't come in on midnights. So it's serious. There's like 4 of us that are in there, and we're all from different teams on different sides of the week and stuff. So we all just kind of sit there and like. Do
you bring a lunch, or do you
sit here?
Bring your meals? Do you actually get to leave the PD?
Yeah, like if I wanted to go get food or something like that, like I could leave, go grab.
In an unmarked vehicle, or
your lunchtime. No, I'd take
personal car.
I'd have to take my personal car. So it's just.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm okay because I'm at.
It's one of those things that like there's nothing open, so I'm not going to leave.
Right, and you wanted to. You said during our pre-show on Instagram that you wanted to bring up some stuff or talk about some stuff.
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about because like I've noticed like this week I've been extra irritable mainly because it throws off your sleep schedule because I'm usually leaving there around like 4 or 5 in the morning when the day shift counterpart comes in. So I head home, I sleep till about 2, and then I get up and go. But it's one of those things of if I was getting up at 2 regularly, I would go out into the shop and do something and feel productive. So I can't do that. Or I have to spend extra time thinking about that. So that's irritating to me, and sometimes that just shows through. And then it's also, when you're at work, this is not a sexy injury, right? I think we can all agree a broken pinky finger, like the tip of your pinky, is not a sexy injury.
It depends on what you're wearing.
Yeah. Well, I tried wearing a negligee and it still didn't work. So, but it's like you really I'm out with this, which is understandable. But then how long are you out? Like until mid-November, and they're like
Thanksgiving.
What? Yeah. So it's like, and then this is, in all honesty, it's going to probably affect the ability to go and be an FTO.
I hope that's not the case.
So I'll probably have to wait. It would make, I can think of a way that it would make sense for them to send me, but if it makes sense, I can't do it. Like that's just any type of government work. If it makes sense, you cannot do it. So that's going to probably screw that up. So I'm going to have to either wait till the next time that they're looking for FTOs, which there constantly are, but they're not going to just take one here and there. They're going to wait until they get enough, and then they're going to send a batch through the FTO school. So now I got to wait for that. I was actually slated to do so our investigations bureau put on kind of like a training for people. So our special ops side is also doing the same thing. That's a lot of hands-on doing stuff. I was signed up for that. It's supposed to start Monday. Don't think I'm going to be able to participate much, which is irritating because I would like to maybe go into the special ops unit someday. So this is like all this stuff just compounds on top of it, and it's fucking depressing because just the mentality that people, well, most people, not everyone, I know plenty of guys who are like, to ride that out. But for the most part, people don't have that mentality in our line of work. So when we are taken away from the street or we're not able to help out, because I am fully aware that the district I work in, which is 300% busier than the next busiest district, I know the rest of my team is getting hammered because now they're short. So, and everyone can tell you it is what it is. You can't control it. Well, you still feel guilty about it because you feel this urge to be out there. You feel like you owe it to them to be out there. But then you have to also have that, I guess, flip side of the coin of am I any good to them? Because I had that thought the day before I went to the doctor, the day after this happened, of if something goes down, I'm no use.
No.
To anybody right now.
You asked how I was dealing with it, and I had the same. I'm opposite of you. I never want to go back to work. Like I said before, I haven't seen 4 weeks of sun in 4 years, consecutively. I'm in so much of a better mood that I'm afraid to go back to work because it's now taken a month to get my circadian rhythm back to where it's supposed to be, right? Because we haven't been in that groove. So I love it. It has helped me. I miss the guys. And I don't know if I sent you, I think I sent it to our group, the picture of a DUI crash that happened the other day. I think it was Sunday morning. Maybe I didn't send it to you. We had a car going southbound on one of our main streets, had to be doing 60 or 70, left the road and crashed into one of our shitty bars that we want to close down, took out the whole building, well, the whole entrance to the building. And I was...
Count that as a win.
Yeah, it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win because he walked away from the crash, so he didn't die. Actually walked away. 2, it closed the bar down. Win-win. 3, I wasn't working.
3
wins. And So the next day, my buddy Tony, who works in the town over, we used to work at the muffler shop together back in the 80s. He texted me because he drives past this bar every morning into work. And he said, he calls me up and he's like, hey, what happened? And I'm like, I'm not even at work. But I just got the picture sent to me by my buddy Mark, who was on the scene. And he goes, what happened? I saw this, and his camera on his car caught it. His car cam, Tony's dash cam in his personal car caught it. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't care, dude. I don't know. Here's what I know. And he's like, how old was the guy? I go, I don't know. My sister texted me, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. We had a DUI. He crashed into a building. I don't give a shit about anything else that happened because I'm not working and I'm tired of it. I'm so tired of it. I don't want to go back. So the next 7 months are going to be anticipation of me living a normal life again and not caring about effing bullshit that's going on in my town next to the city and all that shit that we see. I've seen enough. So I'm actually in the opposite end of you. I'm excited. I'm happy every day because I'm not at work.
Well, that's because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
I think I'm just actually...
This is a sneak peek of retirement for you, which I think can give you that different perspective. For me, I still know I'm like 30 years away from it.
And I'm going to work another job, so I'm not going to be completely retired. But here's what I enjoy, right? Weekends.
Like seeing the sun.
We talked about it last week, me driving around with my daughter in my car. Yeah. I mean, I don't take seeing the sun for granted like I used to. I mean, every day I get to see it, I actually enjoy it, and I just soak it up. And, it sucks that I can't jump and run, and, I can't work. That's a little bit disappointing, but I'm done. I'm burnt out. So, I'm sorry. I feel bad that you are going through this now for 6 to 8 weeks, and hopefully to be on the short end, not the 8 weeks, but closer to the 6.
5 to 7 to go.
See? 1 week down.
Yeah, that 1 week felt like a year.
And what sucks for you is you're still on your midnight schedule. So if they would put you on light duty during the day, you might enjoy it more.
Well, I'd have stuff to do.
And then it would make the day go by faster, and it wouldn't seem so bad. But,
Yeah. And, of course, I started thinking about, like, midway through the week, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can find, like training courses that are going to be put on during this time, and I'll just fill out the request to go do the training, awesome. Get release time, and that'll be my job. Like, at least I can do that. Looked online. Nothing. Like, the nearest one is something like next month, and it's, like, up in McKinley, California, which I had to look up, which is close to Redding, which is almost Oregon.
Okay.
So it's like a 6-hour drive. North, not even like down like to Southern California, where it would at least be kind of fun.
Yeah,
like for crying out loud, it's like for a 1-day course. I'm like, I'm not doing that at all.
That's funny. So that's how you're dealing with it.
I'm going to keep looking at work, and then so it's one of those things. I'm trying to find ways to come out of it better, but when you're kind of stuck in an office called the Fishbowl, that actually has like underwater paintings.
No, come on. I thought it was called that because there's just glass all around you.
Yeah, well, that was part of it. And then they decided to paint like underwater murals all the way around. I'm like, I think you guys really
is there a starfish painted on the wall?
No, but there's a lot of like Nemo stuff in there. So there's like clownfish, and it's a brown starfish. It's a chocolate starfish, if you will.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it sucks, and it's miserable.
I'm sorry.
Because there's nothing to do. You sit there and like, I'm down to sit and watch some TV. All right, I'm a TV junkie, self-admitted. But when that's all there is to do, it's my ass. Like, I had a buddy. He had a swing shift buddy of mine. He came in because he had to write a search warrant for a DUI's blood, and I mean, I was like, dude, what do I do to help?
Can I write it for you? Yeah.
When you print it out, do you want me to go get it for you and bring it over here?
I can proofread it too. Let me get my marker. I'm going to practice my FTO shit.
Yeah.
Yellow marker.
Yeah. So we were sitting there and just talking about stuff, and it's like, man, like this sucks. Like this is
Oh,
every now, like I could see like for a week, like it's like cool, it's like a vacation. Like when I went there for 2 weeks after the vasectomy, like it was fine. Like I was like, this is great.
Well, it was because it was short. Now you know it's going to be that much longer, so it's just starting to affect you more.
I know that I'm out for a while.
And to your point about not being able to do your job without possibly getting yourself or your partners killed, because that's a reality of our job. When I was speaking to the new physical therapist, I told her I'm bummed out because this is taking so long. But taking so long, it's only been 2 weeks today, right? No, tomorrow. 2 weeks tomorrow. And she said, let me tell you what your ankle's like. Take a bunch of rocks, stick them in a sock, throw some twigs in there. You have no major muscle groups in there, nothing. You got rocks and sticks, and that's what your ankle is, and that's what's holding up all your weight. Don't get too discouraged. It's going to take some time. I'm like, all right. So, rocks and sticks, baby. That's what's in my shoe.
Yep. I've also decided I'm not shaving.
I do that, but
until I'm
no. Oh, see, it bothers me after a while, so I have. And plus, next month,
I don't care. I'm just gonna
for no shave November, I'll do it then. But
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna continue through. I'm just not gonna shave anything until
Are you gonna
duty, and then I'll shave everything.
Are you
but
gonna
the
get
mustache.
a hipster beard?
Whatever I grow, I grow. If it's a hipster beard, it's a hipster beard. If it's a homeless beard, it's a homeless beard.
Like Patrick
Patrick
Kane grows very bad beards of the Blackhawks, so that's you'll be all patchy and shit.
Yeah, well, at least like mine's not super patchy anymore. That used to be what it was. But my team had just decided that we were going to do our No Shave November a little bit early because one guy's getting married, so we were going to go for a month up until his wedding. So I'm just going to continue it on
my
own.
question to you is, does your department allow well-groomed beards?
No. Mustaches, yes.
All right, so I thought we were the only department because a friend of mine who I worked with at the electric company for so many years, he said, because I grew a goatee for No Shave November. And then he said, why don't you have that all year round? And I said, we can't. We can only have a mustache. And he goes, wait, you can be 300 pounds and out of shape, but you can't have a fucking goatee. And I go, yep.
Yes, it makes no sense. Ours, you can't have any visible tattoos as well.
Can you wear like sleeves?
There are,
like, those.
Yeah, so you can wear like
the neoprene
like
sleeves? Okay.
Sleeves to like cover it up, but you just can't have any visible ones. But there are departments that, especially smaller ones, that are using things like beards and tattoos.
Yeah, to get people to
recruit people in.
We were in Jackson. I saw a few guys with beards, and the town over that works with us a lot. They allow it, and I'm not used to seeing it in patrol because for 22 years we can't have facial hair except for a mustache. So it looked well kept.
Well, I mean, ours if you work like
well, yeah, obviously,
stuff,
yeah,
then you can do whatever.
But patrol, no. So
no, you got to look pretty.
Do you have anything else for work?
No.
Can you?
I'm all caught up. I'm all caught up on the Rookie. Like I was like midway through last season, and now I'm all the way.
So you're saying I should watch the Rookie?
So now I'm going to start watching. It's good. It's entertaining. There are some serious episodes, but for the most part, it's comedy.
Oh, it's comedy. Okay. I'll give it a try.
It's not meant to be like a serious. They don't do it like Chicago PD. That's another show. I think it's well written. I think the storylines are good. The actual like execution of everything, I'm like, how are all of you not in prison?
I can't. It's just so bad. I can't do it.
I think it's an entertaining show. I've gotten back into Law and Order SVU.
Well, because of Stabler and Law and Order Organized Crime.
Well, yeah, because now they're crossing over and stuff.
You know what?
So now I got to freaking watch.
We just watched the second episode before my wife flew out to Boston, and my daughter was home, and she said she's watched all of SVU, and then she said, "Is that Stabler?" And I said, yeah. She's like, "What are you watching?" I go, "It's Organized Crime." So then she asked me at the end of the show, she's like, how is it? And I'm like, it's. I missed him.
How it was when it was. You would have one episode was one case, start to finish, so you could pick it up whenever. And like, yeah, there might be like an overarching.
Yeah, there always is in the third,
storyline that played out.
But I'm like,
but for the most part, you had one case start to finish, and that was it. Now, like with organized crime, like that one case took the whole damn season.
And I'm not digging the acting, except for Maloney. He's fantastic. But it's just...
I try to treat every show, like the first season is always going to be the first season. Like Breaking Bad, I almost stopped watching it in the middle of the
My
first
wife,
season.
after 3 episodes, looked at me and said, and it was the second time I had watched it, and I was rewatching with her, and she said, "Is this going to get better?" And I go, "Just wait." And then with one episode, the last 3 episodes, she's like, I can't watch. I'm so afraid of what's going to happen to, everybody, Jesse. And I'm like, okay, we'll watch it. She was so into it. She was like a druggie. But that's good writing and good acting.
I did the same thing. Yeah, but it takes time. Like those first few episodes of that show were dog crap.
Yeah, I'll watch him, but
they built on it. Yeah, I think Bryan Cranston's a great actor, but even a great actor can't. You're talking about
Breaking Bad's first few episodes. I don't know if they were dog crap.
Yeah, no, I thought they were crap.
We've moved into the movie and TV section of the police of our podcast.
Yeah, you got 2 broken cops. All right, we don't got a lot of cool stories for you, so this is what we're talking about.
All right, so.
All right? If you don't like it, too bad. Start your own.
Since we're done with work stuff, and we're going to get to some serious stuff in a few minutes. But since we're doing reviews, I watched and I waited and I was so excited to watch this. The Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, how was it? Oh no!
It was really slow. All right, so it takes part in 67 or 68, and then it jumps ahead to like 74, I think, or 72.
Yeah. Now, for the people who don't know, this tells the story of young
Anthony Soprano.
This
is now. So here's who's in it, right? Well, the characters.
I say, isn't Gandolfini?
Yeah, he actually plays Tony Soprano. Michael Gandolfini. Yeah. It's very cool. So you got a young Paulie, and a young Big Pussy, and you got. Sil.
Okay.
So and then a young Corrado, right? The guy who
you got Junior in there.
The guy who did Corrado, Uncle Junior, the bald actor he was in Ant-Man. He was the bad guy. He's phenomenal in the movie. All right,
he's a good actor.
His mannerisms and the way he talks, they wrote, you can tell it's Corrado, Uncle Junior. He does it perfectly. The guy who plays Silvio Dante, he's got he does the mannerisms okay and all that stuff. But
he's got the high
he does that, And the Paulie, you can't tell it's Paulie until he does something like this, with his 2 fingers down. Hey, bring over here. I think they tried too hard to do certain things, and Vera Farmiga is Liv. She plays Tony's mom, and she's got the wording and the phrasing down. But they tried to pack all this shit into 2 hours, and I don't think it worked. It was very slow.
No, I think anything involving The Sopranos has to be like a TV thing. Like you need more than 2 hours.
John Bernthal plays his dad. I wanted to see more of him. Ray Liotta plays 2 characters because one's not enough for him, I guess.
Well, he's acting on, an expert.
Yeah, he's the only person. I'm sorry, because during Talking Sopranos podcast, which I listen to every week, they're going to have a bunch of actors on and stuff about this movie because it's it's fodder for the Sopranos. Yeah, only 2 people didn't have to read for David Chase. One was Ray Liotta, and one was Vera Farmiga. Those 2 didn't have to read or audition. But here's what I'll tell you: watch it. You'll pick up on a bunch of Sopranos references in there, and probably watch it again. I'm gonna have to watch it a second time. There's a lot of race riot stuff going on because that was going on in Newark in the late '60s.
Okay.
And then who's the name? The Frank, American Gangster. Frank, what's his last name? The one that Denzel plays. the actual real person. He plays the gangster. I forget Frank's last name, the American gangster.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's in the show. They've referenced him, that character, because he was a real person.
Yeah, it was that movie's based.
Yeah,
on
that was a real
real
person.
thing.
So he's in it. I just think they did too much. They tried to do too much in too little of a time. If it was a 10-episode miniseries, one off, like The Mayor of Easttown, if you've seen that yet, holy shit, phenomenal. Oh, God.
What is it on? Because I've heard
HBO
good
Max.
things about it.
Yeah, it's an
of course.
HBO show.
But
But
no, that's why I'm really excited with them taking the Jack Carr novel Terminal List, which is going to star Chris Pratt.
Oh, awesome.
Who the author said when he wrote the book, that's who he envisioned playing the
That's
main
cool.
character. So anyways, if they turned it into a movie, they would have to do the same thing. They would have to shove too much into it. So they're actually doing it as a series on Amazon Prime, which they still haven't released a release date yet, except I think it's going to be sometime 2022, 23 maybe.
So I'm curious. David Chase, who wrote The Sopranos, you don't think he went to HBO and said, I got this idea, and I want to do this 2-hour movie, and you think they would have went, wait a minute, why don't you do a 10-episode or an 8-episode miniseries? Just one time, then they get...
That would have taken too much time, though, don't you think?
I don't know.
And that's going to be a
It took them...
budget.
Yeah, but HBO doesn't care, and that's what...
I know.
I
mean, HBO's got, like...
That's why they have some of the best television shows, because they don't have after The Sopranos...
and that should have been the thing that crossed through everyone's mind. Is like, hey, we're really good at putting out, like, limited series. Why don't we do this as a limited series?
And who knows?
Like we did with The Sopranos.
Right. The way they left it, they can run it for two short seasons or 3, pick up because there's a lot of stuff that you don't get to see.
Explore different aspects.
Yeah, you don't
like they do with True Detective. Like it's not one continuous story arc.
I made Kim watch 1 and 3, seasons 1 and 3. We skipped 2.
Yeah, that one.
If I get to something where I don't have anything to watch, I'll watch season 2 with her. But 1 and 3 were phenomenal. So that show is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The first season was.
So I actually have a good way to segue into more serious stuff. So if you remember, a couple episodes ago, I brought up the Drink and Break podcast where they interviewed Nick Palmisano, who was a part of Task Force 6-8 that went over to Afghanistan to help evacuate people, right? So he went over there with Tim Kennedy, who, if people don't know, is the real-life Captain America. He's still in the Army National Guard. He's Green Beret, Special Forces sniper, MMA fighter in the UFC, and all-around good human being. So they had him on episode... It's their episode 908.
How many episodes do they put out a week?
And they put out like 5. They put out one
that's
every
their
day.
job.
Yeah, they've started their own media company, and they put out just nonstop
I don't think we'll
shows.
Get to 908, but continue. Maybe
someday. No, that attitude we won't, Mike. But no, 908 is just like an hour and a half long interview with Tim Kennedy about what he saw over there. I know I've said before, as long as we have this platform, I'm going to keep bringing this up because there are thousands of American citizens and Afghan, I think, special interest visa holders that have already been approved to come over to the United States that have helped the United States in the war on terror, specifically in Afghanistan, that are currently being hunted by the Taliban. And the ones that are being found are being executed publicly. If you have some spare change laying around, go to saveourallies.org. All right, they're on Instagram, just at Save Our Allies. They'll have a link there. You can volunteer, you can donate. They need the help. They are doing a better job of evacuating people than the DOD and the State Department. To the point, at one point while they were there, State Department was asking them to coordinate flights out because they were doing it better. it's what's going on over there is a humanitarian crisis, the likes of which I don't think the world has ever seen. And to be blunt, the American government caused it.
Yeah, they did.
So if you can, donate. If you can, volunteer. I've looked at their volunteer stuff, and it's kind of demanding, so I don't think if you have a job, it's going to be kind of tough to do. But if you can't do either of those, if you're strapped for cash, you don't have the time, share a link to Save Our Allies. Get it out there. It's finally getting to the point where they're actually getting some big money donors in there, like Chris Pratt, Glenn Beck. Think what you want of either one of those people.
Good.
But they're doing what they can.
We'll have a link in the description.
And I encourage everyone to go listen to that episode, because when you hear one of the baddest mother truckers on the planet get emotional over what he saw there, to include infants bleeding out because their parents threw them hoping they would clear the Constantina wire. Hoping. Now, there was an American service member over there that would grab them because it was better than what they were going to be facing. When you hear those stories, when you hear the picture depicted by the people who were on the ground there, it will piss you off. And one way that you can start affecting actual change is by donating to this nonprofit, or get so pissed off that you start voting out people who are currently holding political office in Washington. Not locally, in Washington. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, we can put a link. I've discovered recently, because since we've been doing the YouTube, I include everything in the descriptions, below. But I can also, the last few times, I've been adding all that stuff in our podcast description too. I didn't know it was interactive.
Yeah.
So on some of the platforms it is.
Let's add a link.
I'll have it in there.
Let's add a link to Save Our Allies.
SaveOurAllies.com. It will be in the descriptions of the episode, either on your podcast platform or on YouTube. Well, you put us right in a mood here, so...
See, I told you I had a good segue.
So yesterday, I'm not going to do many news stories. None, actually, except for this first one. Yesterday, I got a text from a friend in reference to an Illinois State police trooper who was shot on one of our expressways in Chicago. And he sent a link to the story, and then I think he must have thought what actually happened. He sent the link, and then, of course, as the day goes on, it's discovered that the trooper actually committed suicide in his patrol car on the Dan Ryan Expressway. And the way he was found was by a civilian. I don't know why the civilian stopped, because I haven't watched the news. But a friend of mine who has connections sent me the audio. So I did some editing today to shorten it, and I wanted to play it, the radio call. And it is...
So,
go ahead.
I was going to say, this bystander stopped and grabbed the police radio
in the squad.
In the car.
She took the microphone and just started calling for help. I don't know why she actually pulled over. The Dan Ryan goes past Comiskey Park.
It's a pretty major...
Yeah, it's huge. It's very scary to pull over on the side of the road there. Everyone's doing 70 miles an hour. Yeah. And it's just south of Comiskey Park where the Sox play, or whatever the fuck they call that place now, Guaranteed Rate Field.
Yeah, so imagine being at work, fat, dumb, and happy, and then all of a sudden you hear this over the radio.
Yeah, especially for, officers. Okay.
Mike, that was your cue to start.
Yeah, I know.
all units, officer shot.
We got a state police vehicle. We're over on northbound lane. Send help, please.
Emergency assistance, officer shot. Can I have a location? Whoever picked up the radio, can I have a location? All units for State Car Charles 101. Someone has their radio and is advising officer shot.
Charles 112. I'm pulling up on 101 right now. Northbound, locals 43rd. Northbound, locals 43rd.
Traffic between 9463rd. Please send paramedics back.
Charles 112. Charles 101, shot in the head.
10-4, all units are out. We have fire en route.
20, I copy. I'm en route. Code 3.
Control 40 en route.
Unit on 101's radio, we have fire en route. Any information on the assailants? Any units on scene with 101 advised?
Charles 112. I'm having a hard time getting out of driver. He's against the wall. I need some help.
10-4, all units en route advised.
97 code 3.
Charles 196, I'm in route code 2. 191 code 3.
110 code 3.
94 northbound at 43rd, 94 northbound at 43rd. Officer shot in the head. Charles 110, 10-4.
Charles 112, he might have shot himself.
Charles 112, 10-9 that traffic.
He might have shot himself in the head.
So, I don't know if you could make it out. The first officer that arrived, the other trooper who showed up, he said on the radio that he was having a hard time getting him out of the car because he was driver's side to the median wall, and he was pulled way over to the left, I would imagine then.
So he
pulled over left, and his driver's side door was up against the wall, so the officer couldn't get him out of the car. He was pinned in there, so he needed help, and So the trooper's name, sorry, I'm going to read something that the Illinois State Police put out afterwards. Illinois State Police Director Brandon F. Kelly regretfully announces the death investigation of ISP District Chicago Trooper Gerald Mason. On October 1st, 2021, at approximately 1:42 p.m., Trooper Gerald Mason, Star 6218, was found in his squad car on Interstate 94, northbound in the local lanes at 43rd Street, with a single gunshot wound. Citizens, Chicago Police Department officers, and Illinois State Police troopers arrived on scene. CPD transported Trooper Mason to a local hospital with serious life-threatening injuries. At approximately 2:16 p.m., Trooper Mason succumbed to his injuries. Trooper Mason was 36 years old and an 11-year veteran of the Illinois State Police. The part I did edit out some, they didn't wait for an ambulance. They put him in a squad car and drove him to the hospital, and dispatch, tried to clear roads and stuff like that, like we heard during Officer French's murder. Yeah. Not as well, I will say, as the dispatcher who did that, but they didn't wait around for an ambulance. And I just wanted to, I don't know who the civilian was. Most civilians will not stop on a major expressway to approach a police car in the first place unless they have, a serious issue. We get the idiots that pull up next to you when you're on a traffic stop and go, "Hey, where's Burger King?" And I don't know, but you want to get shot by the guy behind you, move on. But this person who stopped on the expressway for whatever reason to help this officer and just grabbed the mic in his car, she did make a difference for a few minutes because she got a bunch of help there.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know why I shared that with you. It really hit me hard.
Well,
once again, I wanted to talk about real quick. The suicide prevention hotline. In our field of work, we lead. Not say in the industries, but we lead everyone in suicides, divorce, and alcoholism. those are the things that police officers lead in.
And
Heart disease, yeah, compared to civilians. And I just wanted to bring attention to suicide prevention. The suicide prevention hotline is 800-273-8255, 1-800-273-8255. And you have mentioned in the past, Brandon, in our podcast, that if you think, you mentioned it with the vets, the men and women of the service industry, or the services, like you, servicemen and women. And when you know if someone is struggling, to reach out and call them or text them. And the same goes for us in our field, right? I don't know.
Even if you don't know how they're doing, I mean, you never know when that text or call or Facebook message or DM is going to catch somebody at the perfect moment.
So I just want to bring awareness to that that problem that everyone knows about, and it is talked about, but
it's talked about in some aspects, but I mean, like you hear about the veteran community with the 22 a day. Even to a certain extent, you hear about it with the military active duty community, but you don't really hear about it with active duty law enforcement until like last year when NYPD had something like a week straight where they had somebody, kill themselves like every day for a week.
Yeah, and this spring Chicago had a number of them, like back to back, and
well, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say that it's it's predictable, but you look at the last 18 months.
Yeah. So thanks for allowing me to share that and get that number out there. And
no, it's an important thing that should be shared.
All right, that just threw me off, but
and that bystander gave everyone hope.
Yes, she did.
Because otherwise nobody would have known until
someone would have said there's been a trooper parked here.
What, into watch? Yeah, like into watch, and someone's still logged into the system, and then they'll try to raise them on the air, and then when nothing comes up over the air, then they'll send somebody out to check it out, and then someone rolls up on scene, and then because it's been 4 hours.
In our department, we don't get status checked. Like you had a perfect game the other day. Did they reach out to you to see how you were doing? Right.
No.
So
I had a buddy reach out, try to jinx it.
Bastard.
I said, boy, it'd be a shame if something happened.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. 5:45.
So it's my point, right? We could be. This is why I like to car spoon with my partners, because out here too, in the last few years, we've had a number of police officers ambushed in their squads in the parking lot. So you could be sitting there going over some paperwork in your car, and some fucknut walks up to you and puts a bullet in your head, and if you don't get a call in the next 6 hours, like you got a perfect game, they're not going to know you're okay or you're not okay until, end of shift, and then your boss goes, the fuck's Marrazzo? I don't know, it might be out in the parking lot.
Well, even end of shift, like, my boss doesn't hang around.
No.
No one hangs around to be like, oh, okay, so you got in okay? You done? Okay.
Yeah, we do
it's
all gather up at the end of the shift. Everyone comes in, so okay.
No, we don't. Everyone goes in and we're like, all right, we gotta go.
All right. There's
I want to go see night. No, usually you end up walking out with somebody,
but you guys aren't mandated to come in and give your mileage count and all that stuff like we do.
No, so we give our mileage when we fill up with gas. Which you usually do at the beginning of your shift.
We fill up at the end of the shift, but we have to state our mileage to the boss. They used to keep track of mileage.
Really?
Like, who cares? No, I don't know. And then,
Mike, you only drove 3 miles today.
I had a flat tire.
Yeah, mile and a half there, mile and a half back.
Yes, and then we give a count, like felonies, misdemeanors, tickets written, all that kind of stuff. We do the whole run. That's our score sheet.
No, we don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why we do it anymore, but. So that's my story of
Because you've always done
We
it.
always done it right. Nothing changes. That would be my story of the week. Unfortunately, it's a bad one. I checked the Officer Down Memorial page today, as we do every week, and we had 15 officers. We have 15 now because I included the trooper.
Yeah.
He's not on there yet.
Yeah. 12 COVID, 1 gunfire, and 1 suicide, right?
Yes. No,
Or
2
two
gunfire,
gunfire,
1
one
suicide, and then the rest COVID.
Yeah.
So my son has COVID. And hoping
Well, he's young and strong.
he's
like a
young
beaver.
and
Has an immune
and he was
system.
already vaccinated, so that I think
But he has
he
an
has an
system.
immune system.
Like he's not immunocompromised.
No, he's
doesn't have breathing issues.
he does not have breathing issues.
No heart issues.
No.
He's gonna be
No.
fine. Gonna be fine. I'm calling it right now. Gonna be fine.
All right, cool. Because you made a point earlier when we were talking about the COVIDs, and it is true in a lot of these, but
It is true. I mean, and a lot of these you see too with. I noticed a few. It was in 2019. Where there was a lot of on-duty deaths that were heart attacks, or died during training, like during training suffered a heart attack and passed away. And like you mentioned earlier, like you can be 300 pounds, but you
Right,
can't
yeah.
have a beard.
right.
It's a common thing I'm seeing, and I'm like I am not trim. I got a lot to love, okay? But the common thing I've seen with most of the COVID line of duty deaths is that there's some weight issues.
Yeah, another underlying health.
And they're older, and most of them are older. Like not like in the danger zone for COVID, like 65 and up, but they're I'd say 50s.
We've had a few young ones.
And yeah, there's been.
Which
a few
is
young-
shocking.
Like there are with anything, there's
Right.
outliers. But I would be curious to know if there were any other underlying
Right.
health issues. But like maybe don't hit fast food every day at work.
It's hard.
Make that like your
Right.
Friday thing. Make it your Friday thing. Or like if you're in a parking lot, go for a walk. You got all that gear on. It's like doing
Yeah,
a
my
ruck.
buddy,
like just walk.
my buddy,
It's like walking
right,
on steroids.
Danny and I, usually at about between 2 and 3 in the morning, we have a big Metra. Metra is our train, public transportation train thing. So we'll park in the Metra lot and we'll just walk. I think it's a quarter mile each lap. So we usually do 4 to 6 laps. We'll do 3 in one direction, then unscrew ourselves and go the other way. So we're not walking in the same circles.
So well, that way
Right,
you're
we
not
don't get dizzy. But especially when it's nice out, we do that almost every shift.
Yeah.
And then you go home and sleep because I was working out after work, and it's just so hard. It's getting harder for me as I get older to do it.
Oh yeah,
But-
yeah.
all right, well, let's do the memoriam and read off these officers' names this week. Dallas Police Department, Dallas, Texas, Senior Corporal Arnolfo Pargas. September 23rd was his end of watch. He passed from COVID-19, 52 years old, 20 years of service. Corporal Charles Wayne Catron of the Carroll County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. End of watch, September 23rd, from COVID-19 as well. Corporal Catron had 13 years of service, survived by his daughter, 2 grandchildren, and his mother. He was 52 years old. Senior Deputy Philip Baran Jr. of the Victoria County Sheriff's Office in Texas. His end of watch was September 24th, 2021. He died of COVID-19. He served with the Victoria County Sheriff's Office for 8 years. He had previously served with the Victoria Police Department for 25 years. Deputy Baran is survived by his wife and 3 children. He was 54 years old. Total of 33 years of service. Police Officer Anthony Christopher Testa of the West Palm Beach Police Department in Florida. End of watch September 25th, 2021 from COVID-19. Officer Testa was a United States Army veteran, having served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He had served with the West Palm Beach Police Department for 4 years. He is survived by his wife and son, who is 36 years old. Deputy Sheriff Matthew Locke of the Hardin County Sheriff's Department in Tennessee, end of watch on the 25th of September from gunfire. Deputy Sheriff Matthew Locke was shot and killed while assisting other officers during a domestic disturbance at a home in the 3000 block of Nance Bend Road in Clifton. An officer from Clifton Police Department and other deputies contacted the subject, who was armed with a gun, as officers were ordering the man to drop the gun. As Deputy Locke approached the home, the man suddenly opened fire, fatally wounding Deputy Locke. The subject fled into a nearby wooded area and was arrested a few hours later by members of the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Deputy Locke was a Tennessee Army National Guard veteran and had served with the Hardin County Sheriff's Department 7 years. He is survived by his wife and child. He is 30 years old. Deputy Sheriff Joshua Moyers of the Nassau County Sheriff's Office in Florida. We spoke about him last week. He passed away on September 26th from gunfire. That was the traffic stop near the railroad tracks, where he got shot in the face and in the back. The man fled the scene over a railroad crossing. The subject was apprehended 5 days later. Deputy Moyers served with the Nassau County Sheriff's Office for over 6 years. He is survived by his fiancee, parents, and brother. He was 29 years old. Corporal Robert Wayne Nicholson of the Clark County Sheriff's Office in Indiana. End of watch Sunday, September 26, 2021 from COVID-19. Corporal Nicholson had served with the Clark County Sheriff's Office for over 5 years and had previously served with the Charlestown Police Department for 3 years. He is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. He was 35 years old. Police Officer Gregory Lynn Triplett of the Waverly Police Department in Tennessee. End of watch September 26th, 2021 from COVID-19. Officer Triplett had served with the Waverly Police Department for 26 years. He is survived by his wife and 5 children. He was 50 years old. Trooper Eric T. Gunderson of the Washington State Patrol in Washington. End of watch Sunday, September 26, 2021 from COVID-19. Trooper Gunderson was the technology liaison in the Criminal Investigations Division and a member of the SWAT team. His pioneering work with unmanned aerial vehicles had been chronicled in media stories across the nation. He had traveled around the country representing the Washington State Patrol for UAV usage to shorten the time of road closures during collision investigations. It is on one of those trips that he contracted COVID. Trooper Gunderson had served with the Washington State Patrol for 15 years. He is survived by his wife and 2 sons. Patrol Officer Howard K. Smith III of the Owasso Police Department in Oklahoma. End of watch September 27th, 2021 from COVID-19. Officer Smith had served with the Owasso Police Department for 21 years and was an assistant SWAT commander. He had served in law enforcement for 26 years. He is survived by his wife and daughter. He is 52 years old. Sergeant Joshua Wayne Stewart of the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee. End of watch Monday, September 27th, 2021. Cause of death, COVID-19. Sergeant Stewart had served with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office for 13 years. He is survived by his wife and 2 children. He was 39 years old. Sergeant Michael Todd Thomas of the Griffin Police Department in Georgia. End of watch September 28th, 2021 from COVID-19. Sergeant Thomas was a United States Air Force veteran. He had served with the Griffin Police Department for 22 years. Sergeant Thomas is survived by his wife and 2 children. He was 52 years old. Sergeant Logan Davis of the Iron County Sheriff's Office in Missouri. End of watch Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. Cause, COVID-19. Sergeant Davis had served with the Iron County Sheriff's Office for 13 years. He is survived by his wife and daughter. He was 37 years old. Captain James Anthony Sisk of the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office in Virginia. Friday, October 1st, 2021 was his end of watch. He passed away from COVID-19. Captain Sisk had served with the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office for 17 years and was the commander of the patrol division. He had previously served with the Culpeper Police Department and Rappahannock County Sheriff's Office for 10 years. He is survived by his wife and 2 daughters. He was 50 years old. Sergeant Nick Reisner of the Sheffield Police Department in Alabama. End of watch October 2nd, 2021. Cause of death, gunfire. Sergeant Nick Reisner succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained the previous day when he was critically wounded during a shootout with an auto theft suspect in Muscle Shoals. The suspect had shot the passenger of a vehicle he was riding in and pushed them out of the vehicle in the 800 block of Avalon Avenue in Muscle Shoals. The man then stole another vehicle and drove into the city of Sheffield. The vehicle was spotted by members of the Sheffield Police Department and pursued back into Muscle Shoals. Sergeant Reisner used his patrol car to block the suspect's vehicle after it drove into a Walmart parking lot. The man opened fire on officers, wounding Sergeant Reisner and another officer from the Sheffield Police Department. The subject was also wounded in the exchange of gunfire and taken into custody. Sergeant Reisner was airlifted to Huntsville Hospital, where he succumbed to his wounds the next day. The second officer was saved by his bullet-resistant vest. Sergeant Reisner was a United States Army Reserve veteran and had served with the Sheffield Police Department for 8 years. They do not give his age. And police officer Daryl Adams of the Memphis Police Department in Tennessee, end of watch October 2nd, 2021. He was struck by a vehicle. Police officer Daryl Adams was struck and killed by a tractor trailer on I-40 near North Watkins Street shortly after 11 a.m. He and other officers were investigating a vehicle accident when he was struck and killed. Officer Adams served with the Memphis Police Department for 5.5 years. He was 34 years old. Once again, too many, Brandon.
Way too many.
Way too many. All right. So, I'm not going to do a hero of the week this week, nor a badass of the week. We will do that on another time.
All right.
So, let's close out the law enforcement section. Amen. Thank God. And
Formally close out the law enforcement
formally close
section.
it out. And
even though I don't think we talked much law
no, but we did talk about not being able to do law enforcement because we're broken.
Well, yeah.
We're
'Cause
gimps.
We're gimps.
So, on to the woodworking. You can't do much. I can't do much. I did have.
I was able to joint a
Yes.
bunch of boards. On
Nice.
A new joiner.
And he had a suction problem.
And yeah, so I think I know what the issue is, but I'm gonna have to maybe try covering up that extra.
Yeah, but the
board.
hole's only like what,
See
a
if
half inch
that's-
wide? Or
It's
3/4 of an
super
inch
small. Like,
in diameter.
Yeah, but I wonder if maybe that little hole is just allowing.
It could be airflow. You need it.
Just I don't know, screwing with the suction pressure. I don't know. I don't understand science all that well.
It's science.
So it's science, and I don't do well with science. All I know is that all the chips were contained underneath the joiner, and it made it very easy to clean up.
That's good.
Even if I can't fix
Right.
this problem, it's not a huge problem.
No, I would
So,
just try throwing your
try to
throw
stay
your
positive.
4-inch hose over the outlet, and maybe it'll just let it all come out. Oh,
I did. Well, then I got the other dust chute
yeah.
portion.
Oh, that's right. So you have a Raycon
So,
bench top,
I don't know.
right?
Yes. So I found it on Facebook. So I always see these people find all kinds of cool stuff on Facebook Marketplace. Like, I got a brand new DeWalt planer and a CNC and a Laguna bandsaw, and the guy only charged me $200. And then I want to personally find them and punch them in the face.
Where are you gonna punch him?
So I
Face.
in the
Nice.
face. So I was perusing.
Yes.
My local Facebook Marketplace, and there's some things that when I have something in mind that I want, I search specifically for that. So this one was jointers. I was going through jointer, spindle sander, drum sander, just to see. And I found this joiner, this Raycon joiner, spiral head, for $150. The only knock on it was that the guy said on the outfeed table towards the end, it is bent slightly.
Can you grind that down?
So no, it would be too much. I could try to bend it back into place, or I could just not put pressure at the very end of the outfeed table.
Well, unfortunately, when you feed your piece through the jointer, you're just supposed to, once you cross
Yeah,
the
you
head, you're
keep-
supposed to keep just the pressure on the front.
Yeah, you keep pressure there. So basically what I'm doing is, as I'm feeding
Yeah.
it, I'm keeping my hand basically stationary in one spot on the entry portion of the outfeed table, so that I'm not going through and then going with that curve down, because that defeats
Yeah.
the purpose.
So that's cool, though. You got a new toy, and you used it.
Yeah, so I got it for $150, and I looked online, and that particular model retails for $600. So I was like,
Giddy up.
"Sweet, finally
See?
found a Facebook
You did it.
deal." So
Good for you.
if you haven't found one yet, keep trying. Eventually,
Well, I found my
something
my
might pop
Laguna
up.
14BX on Facebook Marketplace, and it was being sold. So this guy had this huge shop. It was an outbuilding. So when I went to go pick up the saw, I wanted to go in the shop, but he hired someone to sell all his equipment for him. He didn't want to be there. So he hired Joe Blow.
Well, yeah, because he's attached.
Yeah, I guess that might be. And plus he doesn't want to get held up or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, man,
So
I don't know.
this guy knew nothing about.
I was going with
The guy who was there selling it had no idea what a Laguna 14BX bandsaw is. But it came with a Resaw King blade and rollers on it, wheels on it. So, yeah, it was a pretty good deal. He priced it too,
Nice.
I guess. So, it was a pretty good deal. So you got to do that. You got to use a jointer.
Yes, I got to do that. I'll probably help my wife out a little bit with spraying, because she's doing some furniture restoration. So she's got these nightstands that are all done being painted. All they need now is a clear coat on there, so probably some sort of polyacrylic or a spar urethane over the top just to
Not
seal it
spar.
up. And they'll be... No, I could use it, but...
I was
don't
just
want
looking
to.
for some.
I
Maybe you
have
took
some.
it because I can't find the can I had. I needed it for this.
No, I
grill
went and
car.
bought it. I bought it
Okay.
at Home Depot. If you'd like to borrow it, you can.
No,
come
you're
over there.
supposed to come here, remember, before the snow? And we're going to have a week of shop time just building shit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
You can share the room.
yeah. You'll be my hands.
Right,
I'll be
yeah.
your legs.
That'll be great.
Between the two of us, we
Yeah,
can make a whole
woo.
person.
Maybe we can get Jonathan down here. Jonathan back. We can get John
Yeah.
back down here. He can help us out.
That
would be a good time.
So I'm gonna probably help her out by spraying some finish on there, just because I'm gonna need something to do.
Yeah, and you can spray with your left hand.
And then she has a new piece that she's gonna try to add to this whole set. So she got 2 nightstands for like $10 each out of the Goodwill store. People behind us were having a yard sale, sold a nice but old and worn dresser for like $5.
$5.
So,
Is it a
$5
6-drawer dresser?
I think
Like
so.
2 by 2 next to each other, or is it a 6-drawer tall?
It's individual,
Stacked.
6
Okay.
tall. Yeah.
You're gonna do
So-
like a top one color and then the side, the rest of it one color.
I think she's going to try to paint it the same as
Oh, okay.
the nightstands. And then the base plate on it is very like 80s, 70s, where it's very
Yeah.
swoopy. So we're going to pop that off. And then I'm going to use my wind bandsaw
There you go.
to go straight across and then have some
Okay.
tapered legs. That way it matches the nightstands, and then we're going to try to sell
That'd be
it as a
cool.
set.
Maybe you can get like
So.
$1.50 for it.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
for 2.
Let's,
Because the nightstands look good, especially when you throw on the hairpin legs that
Yeah.
we got for them. They're going to look real nice. So hopefully we can make a little bit of money on that. But that's been pretty much it for me. I need to bust out a laser sign for a buddy of mine. He's building his wife like a shelf for all her nail polishes, and he wants like a nice like kind of engraved sign to go over the top of it. So I'm going to do that for him. And then I think I'm going to make a set of coasters and then list those on the Etsy store, because those are fairly simple to make and I don't have to use too much of my hand. So that's pretty much all I'm going to have going on, trying to figure out a way to get this first Etsy sale to happen.
hold on.
So
a
I
second.
get visits, but nobody's willing to pull the trigger. So I might run a quick sale on on my flags, because that seems to be the thing that's getting the most views on my store. And then I tried to link my tumblers
Yeah.
in a story
Oh,
on Instagram.
Okay.
And it doesn't let me put a
Wait.
link anywhere. Like before, you could do the whole swipe up thing,
No, you
right?
have to.
So swipe up
You-
is gone, and now they can do like links in there, but I don't have
If you
that
have an-
option. I can do like a branded
If you have an
partnership.
Etsy shop, maybe you can link it.
Well, that's the thing. There is no option for me to insert a link anywhere.
You know, the swipe up thing, you had to have like 10,000 followers. Some bullshit.
Yeah, so I wonder if that's it. If it's just a follower thing, because I don't even have 2 yet. I think I just crossed like 1,700 like a month ago. So,
Congratulations.
but
I was on
So,
your,
I don't know how many of those are bots.
I'm on your Etsy page now, and I was just going to order my tumbler. I forgot my daughter hasn't made my black and white logo, the new one, high def yet. She actually, I'm sorry, her teacher yesterday FaceTimed her on the computer and said she told him what she was doing for me, and then she showed him the work
Yeah.
she's already done, and then he said, hey, let's try this. Let's do this. Try this. So now they've like redesigned it. They haven't showed me yet, but she's redesigned the thing that she
Okay.
designed for me. And she said, before you decide that that's your final one, wait till you see what we did, and then you can pick. So I told her I want it done before
Yeah.
I go back. Before I go back to work, because I want to rebrand by then, in the next week or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's working. So I don't have the image to send you on your Etsy page yet, but I will order one of those for me.
Well, that's why I was thinking about trying to fool around with the computer, because I have a really old, crappy laptop that I got off of a Groupon, and I was thinking about bringing that with me to work and trying to figure out some sort of design for, like, more or less a type of tumbler to sell with one specific thing engraved
Yeah.
on it, and then I can just batch those out
Do something like this.
as needed.
Coffee me up,
Um,
or something, make a saying or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, that's one other thing I could do. But yeah, I think with everything that I offer, there's a customization element
Sure.
to it. So I don't know if that's intimidating to folks or not.
No.
So I think if I can have a couple of options where it's like you don't have to think of anything, you just press buy.
No, I think it takes a while to start selling stuff on there. And so I had 2 people look in my shop this week and favorite an item. And, Etsy gives you that option that as soon as someone does that, you can send a coupon. I don't have that set up because I'm an idiot.
So I just set that up. Because I was fooling with it the night before I actually went to the doctor. I was messing with Etsy and like really trying to dive into it. And that's when I set that up. Is like now people who come to my shop and favorite something, they get a 10% off coupon, and then after they buy something, they get a 10% off coupon to like incentivize them to come back.
Yeah, right. And I need to set that up, but I'm afraid I'm going to get swamped, and I don't have time to make this shit, especially since I haven't been in the shop for a month.
Yeah. So the thing I think I'm going to really kind of focus on for that kind of stuff to really get repeat stuff is tumblers, because I can set a tumbler on there, click go, and then go do other things while that engraves. It's like even my tumbler that I have here, which is like become my new favorite one that has my logo and then the Boneyard logo on the other side, like that took a long time to engrave because it was 2 logos and it was like each one takes like 45 minutes. It was like a 90-minute engraving. But while that's going on, I could be doing other things.
You can.
I think I did that, and then I came inside. I was helping kids with homework and went back out to check on it.
Because I'm supposed to do that with the CNC. I tell myself, every time I'm in the shop, that machine should be running, right? Set it up and run it while you're doing something else. I have yet to fulfill that prophecy.
Well, you got to have something.
Oh, I've got.
Look at look at, because I haven't looked in your Etsy store in a while, but it's primarily flags.
Flags and bottle openers.
Flags and bottle openers. Well,
and so,
what if you added like a tray?
Well, I have the bowling bit. I want to do trays. I got some oak here. I got some walnut here. I have to mill the walnut, but I have 3/4 inch oak that's already ready. So I want to batch out a few trays because you can just put a block of wood on there. I haven't done a tray yet.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do it yet. So I have to learn. But that's my point. I should do it.
You could buy a file off of Etsy for like $1.
I can, or Andy Bird would send me, one because he makes a lot of trays, or Steve Clyde. These guys have offered, but I want to learn it.
Yeah, but you can. Yeah, but if you have like something that's kind of the way I do it. Is if I have something to go off of, I can reverse engineer it, and then I can kind of customize and make it my own. That's what I did with a lot of the Tumblr stuff. Was coming up with I didn't know how to set different paths for the laser. Like, hey, this needs to be at 100% power versus this needs to be at like 70% or something like that. Or I just want this to be something that I can visualize on the screen when I'm designing something.
Well, I have on my phone a running list of things I want to put in my shop. A lot of it is I've got a stack, and I say stack, I mean literally maybe 25 to 30 old license plates that I've had or found or whatever. I want to cut them into letters and make words and put them into signs and stuff like that. And then I've got, I want to do a Nelson and Murdoch, attorneys at law sign, engraved. That's Daredevil, if people don't know. Mm-hmm. No, I know you do. But I've got a running list of different signs I want to make. Those 6-foot welcome signs that people put outside their house? I want to do one of those. I mean, I've got stuff to do, but normally when I'm down here, I'm working on orders that I already have. So, this week, I told you during our pre-show that an elf came during the week.
Yeah, it was magical.
Milled 4 flags and stained and everything. So now all I have to do is do my glue ups and my engravings and stuff. I'm waiting.
And you can do that while you're sitting on your butt.
And I'm waiting on, one of them is for the power company. I did a retirement flag for someone who retired a few months ago.
Yeah.
They ordered another one for a guy another person I actually worked with out of the 25,000 people that work for the company. So he's been retired for a while. So it wasn't a thing that needed it by a certain date. So she said, just when you get to it. So I finally just texted her and I said, listen, I had an elf come and start your flag. What exactly do you want engraved on it? Miracle. So I've got everything stained and ready to be. I have to individually engrave a couple of the stripes by themselves in the machine. And then after the glue up, it'll engrave the stars, and then it'll engrave all the electrical transformers and stuff on it. And then I got one of my friends from my last police department. Her husband works in the city where I live, just made commander. Hope he's not listening to the podcast. So she ordered a flag for him to be ready in the next few weeks. So,
Yeah, just so-and-so. If you're listening, just,
Yeah.
earmuffs.
so
If you just made commander in the city that Mike lives in, earmuff it. Or, like, skip
and
forward.
I keep getting other people reach out to me and ask me to make stuff. Are we done talking about what you're doing in the shop? Sorry.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing in the shop, Mike. I know. You just go.
I know. So I got a couple things going on. One, George Vieira reached out and asked me last month or maybe 6 weeks ago to do something for his wife. So I don't think she listens to the show, but he sent me a picture of it.
So if she listens, earmuffs.
Earmuffs, right. Tell her to put it.
Or skip ahead like a minute.
Right, skip ahead. So,
Actually, it's Mike talking, so better make it 5.
thank you. So, George from Nowhere VA Woodworking. George, as you know, is in our group, our law enforcement group. And they had a dog that passed not long ago. So, George sent me a picture of the dog. He wants it engraved in like an 8x10, like it would be with a wooden frame and everything. It would be an engraved picture of his dog. So, he sent me files, so I've been working on that. And I spent a couple hours last week when I could just sit here before I could walk around better and imported the picture into the machine. And the picture was taken on a sofa. And when you trace it as a bitmap and it makes it a digital picture, the texture of the sofa like invades the picture. And so I had to delete a bunch of it. And then the picture's old and it's not like crystal clear. So there were problems imaging the face of the dog. I wanted to look like the dog, So I worked on it for a few hours, and then I sent George a video yesterday of explaining how it's going and what it looks like. And today he sent me another picture of the dog, not on the couch, that he had. So I got that in there. I got that side project. And then I got asked to make some templates for one of my followers at Handcrafted Gaming Accessories. He checked in on our live tonight. He was one of the last ones in.
Yeah, like right as
yeah, he sent me a message. He was watching a movie with his wife, and he didn't get a chance to jump on. But
unacceptable.
He does a lot of cool gaming stuff, and he wants me to make some. He wants to make these dice things out of wood himself, but he wants templates for them to be made by me, where I can make them out of 1/4-inch plywood or
like empty.
Yeah, something like that. So he sent me. He did it all in SketchUp, and then we tried that.
Wow.
These detailed drawings are amazing in SketchUp. He must have spent a long time doing it. Then he sent them to me, but they don't import into my machine because they're not the right file. So he sent me. I told him, I sent him a video and showed.
Did you try pushing Control-Alt-Delete?
No. The hell's that do?
You should try it.
All right.
It solves most
Okay,
problems.
well, it didn't work for that. And so then.
But you said you didn't try it, so
Okay.
you don't know.
He sent me one. I can't show you, but it's a rectangle piece and it's got carvings out, like 3 carvings in it. And every single measurement in here, there's got to be 9,000 measurements in this one piece, because I was going to try and build it in the machine just use the tools I have. It would literally take me probably 40 hours to hand design these. So I got that sitting around waiting. I told him, I'm not actually in the shop yet. So when I get back after the flags, I get that done. But since we're talking about George Vieira, as you know, George sent a post to our group And I thought it was one of the most amazing things I've heard in a long time. And it was a very, to me, uplifting story. So I asked George if I could share it with our listeners. And he said yes. Actually, you told me yes because I hadn't checked back in the Instagram and said, yeah, George said you could share that.
He also said yes in the live.
Yes, right. After that. So I'm going to read the story that George told us today. And it's amazing how things work with our job and life. So this is all from George. Back in January, his son, who was 14 months old at the time, had his first seizure. George and his son were home together. On a Sunday, he just made lunch for the two, and he sat down. He gave him his lunch, his food, and he turned to take a bite of his sandwich, and he heard a rattling noise, and he looked at his son, and he was slumped over in his high chair, and he was having a full seizure. And then he started to choke on his food. So I'm going to read verbatim now. So I ripped him out of his chair, took a shit ton of back slaps and 3 finger swipes, and I got him breathing again. His lips had turned purple, and his eyes went to the back of his head. Needless to say, he was transported to the hospital. We got there. He was checking out fine. They were thinking they would be discharged within that day. His wife, who also works at the same hospital, was outside in the waiting room because at the time, 2 parents couldn't be in the same waiting room because of COVID. So they switched out. She went in. He came out so she could have time with the son. Shortly after switching out, the son had a second seizure. The last image that George had of him was of the wife closing the door to the room, and his son was unresponsive, actively seizing, and his heart rate was at 70. And the medical staff was opening up an intubation box. His son recovered and did not need to be intubated. However, George wound up in the fetal position, crying like a baby. A sergeant at the University Police Department that he used to work with, and a dear friend, according to George, who is a 5'0" Korean woman, literally jerked him up by his collar, stood nose to nose with him, and went full drill instructor on him and got his head out of his ass. And he said she got me calmed down and refocused so I could be there for his family. His son got stable, and he got to go outside to get some fresh air and call the family and update everybody. Here's what he says. On my way out the door, a black man who works for the hospital stopped me. All I remember about him is his voice and that his hospital ID was on a gay pride lanyard. This man, who I have never met, stops me, sits me down, holds my hand, and prays with me. George continues. Fast forward to this morning, I get called to assist rescue with a cardiac arrest on an 84-year-old woman who unfortunately dies. So her family shows up, and it took me a second to recognize her son, but it was the same guy who prayed with me that day at the hospital over my son. I was able to get a moment to ask him if he remembered me, and he did. So we had a moment together this morning and hugged and cried. And his name is George as well, as is my son. And his mom has the same birthday as my son. I was crying the first time I read that. I read it to my wife.
No, I was speechless. I still am. Hearing the story again, still
I got
speechless.
goosebumps. You know, this isn't woodworking, but he's in our community, right? And these are the friendships that we've made, and
through
right
woodworking.
Because of woodworking, we've become friends with so many other people, and he is also a police officer. And you saw the comments in there, the fate of that way back then in January, that stuff that happened with his son, and meeting that guy outside. Oh no, hold on a second.
To then be
Right.
the one that shows up when his mom passes.
Right. Yeah. And then It's just amazing. I don't. It's hard to fathom. And his name's George, and his mom's birthday is on his son's George's birthday. It's such a great, uplifting story. I wanted to end on that note, right? Yeah, it comes together like that. So that's how I wanted to end the podcast today, on such an uplifting story, because we had some tragedy, as we always do in our field. And unfortunately for you and I, we don't have a lot going on in the shop because we can't really be in the shop. So I wanted to have another person from our woodworking community that shared a story with us, and I wanted to share that with everybody else. So I hope everyone enjoyed that story, and prayers for George and his family. His son is doing well, and I believe he said he hasn't had a seizure since. Yeah, he's on medication, and so great story, man. George, thanks a lot for letting us share that with everybody. It's very much appreciated. Oh, one other note. Guess what?
Is this housekeeping?
No, it's housekeeping. It's not housekeeping.
Okay. Oh, this is just a note. Okay,
I got another affiliate program.
Motherfucker. I even went and set up a goddamn email.
Good. I was going to ask you if you did your homework. FullHouseWoodworking@gmail.com.
And now you can even see.
Good.
Yeah. Now you can even see
awesome.
it on my Instagram profile. There's an option to email me.
This affiliate,
I haven't received any
You will.
emails.
Give it time, man. I reached out to them because it's Basecamp. Basecamp masks. I filmed. So I said there was an elf in my shop doing all the woodwork. I put the mask on.
You mean
the elf put the mask on. He cut wood at the miter station. He sanded all the wood at the sanding station. He ran all the wood through the table saw while wearing the Basecamp mask, and not one grain of dust got in his lungs. And then he filmed it and sent it to them because he won't let me post it yet until I'm back. And so I sent him the video, and then I asked him, I asked them, since I'm doing this for you, do you have an affiliate program? And they said, yes, fill out this blah, 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 this link, and welcome to the Basecamp family. So I will have links to Basecamp and Deco in my profile for discount codes for each product. So that was fun. And when I got it, I looked at Kim and I said, I got to tell Brandon this. Brandon just pushed his mic away from his mouth.
I just want it on record. Between the two of us, I'm the one that discovered Basecamp. I've been using Basecamp for over a year.
Yes. They discovered me, though. So. Because I had an email attached to my profile. So now you'll get this.
You know what? I'm happy for you. Good for you.
Thank you. I almost felt guilty saying yes. I looked, Kim goes, what's so funny? I go, I have to tell Brandon that I got another affiliate program.
Not just any affiliate program.
One that you use.
One that I use and have used.
You know what my next thing is? I'm going to wear, when I wear my Rock Rooster boots and those orange grippy gloves that I got for free from them too. What the hell is that? You know those orange gloves that everyone's wearing now? Yeah, they sent me some too, and I had to take pictures with them. I'm going to reach out to them and Rock Rooster and see if they have an affiliate program. Why not? What the hell? I mean, all they can say is, no, we don't need you in your little account. So that's all I got, homie. We have no question of the week. We actually had a question.
I thought we had a question.
We have a semi-serious. Oh, yeah, you wanted to answer.
Question.
So,
where's the question?
Where's the question?
Where's the question, Mike?
All right. Joey Gonzalez at Joey Steelblade.
Is it an audio one?
He sent me a message on our just direct message.
Oh, okay.
You know Joey. He's joined us on our Instagram Lives a couple times. He's got that. He's in Texas and has a shop as big as my house or something. I don't know. It's huge.
Yeah.
So Joey asked, hey, Mike.
I bet you the property tax is killing him.
Can you edit the podcast louder? So that's the question we have. And I responded back to him.
Well, one can.
Actually, he sent me a voice memo on my messages, but I don't know how to save that.
Okay.
What I was doing was the industry in the podcast world for decibel level is negative 16 decibels. You should be at negative 16 decibels according to all the experts on your podcast. So the first 10, I don't know, I kept them at negative 16. We peak a little bit above that. But now...
Well, yeah. Sometimes we get excited.
Yeah. But now I bump it up. So I'm trying to make it just below the red line. So we're louder. I don't want to be distorted. But what I'll do is I'll mix the episode. I'll save it to my phone. I'll run out to my car in the garage with the garage door shut. I'll push play through the Bluetooth because if I have to turn my stereo up more than a third of the way, it's not loud enough on the file. That's how, because I listen to other podcasts, and if it's...
Yeah, so do I. And when I listen to podcasts, or listen to just about anything through my Bluetooth in my car, I have to turn it up louder than what I would normally listen to a regular radio station.
For whatever reason, if it's compressed or whatever, I don't know. So that's how I first judge it to make sure it's loud enough. I won't release it until I've done the car test. And usually I listen to, at work in the squad too. When I'm actually working, I'll play the podcast before it comes out in the squad to make sure I can hear it that way too. So it is now, I'll bump it up while I'm doing it in Logic Pro, and then I send it to Audacity, and I bump it up even a little bit more, and then I convert it to an MP3. So I am making it on purpose a little bit louder, Joey. So you shouldn't, as you move on in the episodes, they should become louder. But Brandon had an idea.
I have a possible solution.
What would that be, Brandon?
You could turn the volume.
Maybe he has. So he might also have
just turn the volume up just a little.
19 machines running in his shop at the same time, so we don't know, right?
Well,
right? We don't know. He has a lot of stuff going on.
Know.
He's got that huge ass shop.
Yeah, you get better headphones. If he's listening on headphones, he could get some Raycon headphones. I love mine.
Raycon?
Not.
I've got IsoTunes.
Yeah, Raycon.
2 sets of IsoTunes. One.
I have IsoTunes as well. They're great.
Yeah.
They're great for in the shop. I like Raycons for just out and about because they're super just little earbuds you can throw.
What
in there.
are?
In fact, I usually wear them during our live.
Okay. I tried doing that
and you can't even notice.
No,
them,
they're great.
I love them. They're fantastic. Yeah, I think they're $65 for, and I think they're better than Beats. I have Beats.
Okay.
I have the Raycon. I used to be a big headphone junkie, to where I had Beats. I had Skull Candies.
Not me.
And then I came across the Raycon ones, and holy crap, dude, they're amazing. I think they're better than both of those, and they're cheaper than either
Check
one
them
of
out.
them.
Do you have?
Yeah.
Do you have a woodworking shout out?
I don't. I have nobody.
All right. I don't have a.
I mean, I could shout out my usual people. I still talk to them. They're still awesome and helpful.
I'm gonna say thank you, and give a shout out to AJ Camarato. I don't know AJ. I just started following him this week. He makes amazing wavy flags. Some of the stuff he does, it's unbelievable. Crazy flags, man. Just absolutely beautiful. But
I don't even know where to start with the
oh
wavy
my
flags
God,
and then the draped ones. I don't even know how to even start figuring that shit out.
The way I came across him was he had posted in his stories that he was listening to our podcast, and I wanted to say.
I saw that. I haven't had a chance.
I wanted to say thanks a lot to AJ.
Seems like good people.
For following the podcast, giving us a shout out, and just for listening to the podcast. And his work's amazing. So check out his page, man. He is at Crafted INJ. Crafted in maybe Crafted in New Jersey.
Crafted in New Jersey. That's what NJ stands for, Mike.
NJ.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Right. Not in MJ, which would be Mary Jane.
I thought I was going to go with Michael. Whenever I hear MJ, I think Michael Jordan.
I'm thinking Spider-Man comic books. Mary Jane, MJ.
I get that. Yeah.
I grew up following
You're a perv.
Michael Jordan, so I should think of MJ as the first one, but
you didn't grow up following Michael Jordan. You were grown up following.
He's Jordan.
I grew up.
His
following
birthday's
Michael Jordan.
1 year. I think he's 1 year older than me. So yeah,
Okay, yeah, you didn't grow up following.
no,
him.
I grew up
did.
following him through at North Carolina and growing up in my 20s.
You didn't follow. You didn't follow him when he was in North Carolina. You
Tar
didn't know
Heels,
who he was
baby.
until he
Sam
won the national
Perkins.
championship.
I have the Sports Illustrated cover with him and Sam Perkins on the cover. I have the Sports Illustrated with him. I
Nice.
paid $200 for that issue. I've got all Jordan covers from Sports Illustrated. They're all put
Oh,
away.
okay. I could see if you're
Yeah.
doing that, but like just that one off.
No,
would
I've
be
got all
a bit much for a one off.
53 covers or whatever they are. They're put away.
Oh wow, you got them framed.
No, they're put away in plastic.
They're just thrown away in a
Yeah.
drawer.
I was gonna. I've been a subscriber. I was a subscriber to Sports Illustrated from like 1982 up. I finally got rid of my subscription maybe 5 years ago because I have every fucking episode or issue in my house in a box. Where do you put all that shit? So I'm like, you know what? I
Eventually,
I
you put it in
grabbed a
trash.
random box, right, or sealed case that I have them in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get
For that long.
I'm going to get rid of these, So I pull it out and I open it up. First one, it's like one of Tom Brady's first Super Bowls. I'm like, fuck, I can't get rid of that. Put that aside.
I gotta keep
Brett
this
Favre.
one.
I can't get rid of that one. I got to keep that one.
I gotta keep.
I know
this
that's what
one.
I'm doing.
They don't put Scrubs on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Like you got.
I know. So I've got all these, and I thought I'll go to the we sell your stuff on Etsy store where you can't actually buy something in the store, like in 40-Year-Old Virgin, and I'll have someone do it for me.
You have someone do it for
But-
you. Okay. I'll sell it for you.
You want to come and get all these boxes? Hey, when you're here,
No, you got shit.
no. It cost me. I would never make. I looked up some of the issues. I'll never get rid of the Jordan ones, so I won't be selling full years.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there. Like the Jordan ones, the Brady
Blackhawks,
ones.
Jordan, the Bulls,
I can understand the Blackhawks one because you have
White
the
Sox
emotional
World
attachment to the
Series.
Blackhawks, but
All that.
That
Yeah,
one I
the
know,
Cubs
so
World
good.
Series, that kind of stuff. I'm going to keep the Chicago ones.
That one I would just keep. Period. Like, just as a baseball fan, I'd keep that one.
So I got a bunch of cool stuff. When I die, my poor kids are going to just throw everything in the garbage. Dad's 35-piece drum set, throw it in the garbage.
Write out something like, "Hey, don't."
Right.